Salut mon pote, comment ça va? Today I'm super excited to finally start the Unité 1 of this Français A1 course. So before watching this first chapter, please make sure that you have watched the Unité 0, the introduction unit of this course. So you have all the first vocabulary that we have seen. In this very first chapter, we are going to review again a bit of introduction, okay, how to introduce yourself, the personal informations, les informations personnelles. We are going to review the grammar of the adjectif de nationalité, so how to say your nationality for men and women, some pays, nationalité, and also very important, I am going to introduce you to RFI et TV5 Monde. This is going to be very important because this is something that you are going to do all the way through this course. So please make sure that you really watch until the end because this will be extremely relevant to you. Let's start right away. I will start by introducing you to our first character of this course.
Hey, my name is Olivia. I live in Canada. Next week, I will finally move to France for my studies. I have a few days left to start practicing French.
All right, this will be our character for this course.
This afternoon, I will go to an event in my city to meet other people who speak French. I'll be able to practice what I've learned by watching Unit 0 of NLF Academy on YouTube.
Ça va? Okay. So, let's start right away with our first listening exercise, the conversation group. So let's imagine that Olivia, she's going to practice French in her city in Canada with a French conversation group. All right, this is the event. Est-ce que tu peux me dire quelle est la date de l'événement? What's the date of the event? What is the day of the event? C'est quel jour? Quel jour de la semaine? What's the day of the week? C'est, we've seen this in Unité 0, right? Dimanche. Hein? C'est dimanche 9 février 2025. Ok? Très bien. On regarde tout de suite le document suivant. C'est parti. For now, you don't have to do anything. I just want you to focus on the document and listen carefully.
Salut, je m'appelle Sue-Oh. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Salut, je m'appelle Olivia. J'ai 23 ans. Et toi, tu as quel âge?
Moi, j'ai 27 ans. Tu viens d'où, Olivia?
Je suis canadienne. Et toi?
Moi, je suis coréenne.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Franz. Et vous, comment vous vous appelez?
Bonjour Franz, je m'appelle Miguel.
Vous êtes espagnol, Miguel?
Non, je suis portugais. Et vous, Franz?
Ah, désolé. Moi, je suis tchèque et j'ai 44 ans. Et vous, vous avez quel âge?
J'ai 39 ans.
Ça va? I think it's pretty easy. Maybe you didn't understand and you didn't hear every single detail, but I'm sure you can get most of it. Hein? All right, so on your notebook, you can draw more or less something like this. So you have the four people right here. Ici, on a le pays, which is the country. Et ici, on a l'âge, the age. Okay, you can draw something like this on your notebook. And I want you to fill in this tab with the informations that are right here. I want you to listen to the document once again and to match who is coming from what country and have what age. Ok? On écoute.
Salut, je m'appelle Sue-Oh. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Salut, je m'appelle Olivia. J'ai 23 ans. Et toi, tu as quel âge?
Moi, j'ai 27 ans. Tu viens d'où, Olivia?
Je suis canadienne. Et toi?
Moi, je suis coréenne.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Franz. Et vous, comment vous vous appelez?
Bonjour Franz, je m'appelle Miguel.
Vous êtes espagnol, Miguel?
Non, je suis portugais. Et vous, Franz?
Ah, désolé. Moi, je suis tchèque et j'ai 44 ans. Et vous, vous avez quel âge?
J'ai 39 ans.
Ça va? If you have to, if you need, please go back in the video, a few, like 20 seconds, and listen to the document one more time, okay? I count on you to really do the exercise. You really pause the video, fill in the tab, maybe you go back in the video, listen to it one more time, and fill in the tab with the informations before watching the solution. All right? Now, if that's done, let's look at the solution. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on a ici?
Salut, je m'appelle Suo.
Salut, je m'appelle Suo. Donc c'est elle qui parle, hein? Suo.
Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Salut, je m'appelle Olivia.
Je m'appelle Olivia. Donc nous avons deux filles qui parlent. We have two women talking. Suo et Olivia.
J'ai 23 ans.
Olivia dit j'ai 23 ans. Donc Olivia, she is 23. Elle a 23 ans.
Et toi, tu as quel âge?
Moi, j'ai 27 ans.
Moi, j'ai 27 ans. Donc Suo a 27 ans. We have studied the numbers in Unité 0.
Tu viens d'où, Olivia?
Tu viens d'où? Remember the question. We've seen this question in chapter 2 of Unité 0. Tu viens d'où? Where are you from?
Je suis canadienne. Et toi?
Moi, je suis coréenne.
Donc Olivia dit je suis canadienne. She's from Canada. Suo, elle dit moi, je suis coréenne. She's from Corée du Sud, South Korea.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Franz. Et vous, comment vous vous appelez?
Bonjour Franz, je m'appelle Miguel.
Do you notice that Olivia et Suho, they were talking to each other using tu, using the informal speech. Franz et Miguel, they talk to each other using vous, using the formal speech, right?
Vous êtes espagnol, Miguel?
Non, je suis portugais.
Je suis portugais, donc Miguel vient du Portugal.
Et vous, Franz?
Ah, désolé. Moi, je suis tchèque et j'ai 44 ans.
Je suis tchèque, donc il vient de République tchèque, he's from Czech Republic, et j'ai 44 ans.
Et vous, vous avez quel âge?
J'ai 39 ans.
J'ai 39 ans. Ça va? Très bien. Maintenant, let's listen to the document one last time. So maybe you don't have to copy the whole dialogue on your notebook, but I will play the audio one last time, and I want you to fill in these blanks. So on your notebook, you can just write the words in order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. You just put the words, the missing words on your notebook, okay? Obviously, the document is going fast, so you can pause the video after each word, so you have time to write it on your notebook, okay? Please do it seriously. On écoute. This is all vocabulary we've seen in Unité 0.
Salut, je m'appelle Suo. Et toi, comment tu t'appelles?
Salut, je m'appelle Olivia. J'ai 23 ans. Et toi, tu as quel âge?
Moi, j'ai 27 ans. Tu viens d'où, Olivia?
Je suis canadienne. Et toi?
Moi, je suis coréenne.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Franz. Et vous, comment vous vous appelez?
Bonjour Franz, je m'appelle Miguel.
Vous êtes espagnol, Miguel?
Non, je suis portugais. Et vous, Franz?
Ah, désolé. Moi, je suis tchèque et j'ai 44 ans. Et vous, vous avez quel âge?
J'ai 39 ans.
C'est bon? Très bien. Donc, voici la solution. All right? So you can check that you have the right vocabulary. Okay? Salut, Comment tu t'appelles? Salut, je m'appelle. J'ai 23 ans, remember, hein? I have 23 years of age, okay? I don't say I am 23, I say I have. J'ai 23 ans. Tu as quel âge? How old are you? Tu viens d'où? Where are you from? Je suis canadienne, je suis coréenne, ok? Bonjour, and no formal speech. Hein? Comment vous vous appelez? Vous êtes espagnol, vous avez quel âge, etc. C'est bon? Très bien. Now, one thing that's interesting, when they mention their nationalities, as you can see, they don't just say the name of the country. They use a special adjective that we call a nationality adjective. Un adjectif de nationalité. We are going to use this example of nationality adjective to practice the grammar of adjectives in French. So, how does it work? Basically, these are the adjectives here. Canadienne, coréenne, portugais, tchèque. Okay? The nationality adjectives. En français, in French, everything has a gender. Masculin is the male gender. Féminin is the female gender. As you will see in the future, everything has a gender in French. For example, une tasse, a cup, is féminin, is female. Un carnet, a notebook, is masculin, male. Okay? Everything has a gender. And so when you use an adjective, so a word that is used to describe something, then the adjectives, they must agree with the gender of the sujet, which means that if the sujet, if the subject of the sentence, of what I'm saying, is male, then the adjective must be male as well. If the thing is female, then the adjective must be female. Here, it's very simple because the sujet, okay, the sujet of the sentence is always je. So the gender is just the gender of the person, right? So Olivia and Suho are féminin, are female because they are women. Miguel and Franz are male because they are men. You know what I mean, right? So that's why it's a very easy example because here you don't have to think, oh, is a cup masculin ou féminin? You don't have to think about this because the sujet is people, so the gender is obvious in this context. Okay? So, the fact that the adjective must be féminin, masculin, depending on the sujet, must match the sujet, that's a general principle that we will apply forever. And so here, we are using the nationality adjective as an easy but very important and very relevant example. The rule of thumb, basically, the rule is that the masculine is the neutral, is the default one. The default adjective is the masculine. And to turn it into the feminine version, most of the time you add the letter E at the end. If the masculine, if the word in its masculine version ends with I-E-N or E-E-N, instead of just adding E, you add N-E. And if the masculine already ends with E, then you just don't do anything and masculin and féminin will be the same. Maybe it looks a bit confusing right now. Don't worry, you will see it's very easy. Let's look at a few examples. For example, these on the left are male nationalities. Français, French. Américain, American. portugais, Portuguese, canadien, Canadian, coréen, Korean, tchèque, Czech, belge, Belgian. So, we said that most of the time, if I want to turn the male adjective into a female one, I will have to add the letter E at the end. So, what will I have? Just like this. So, a French man will say, je suis français. For example, me, I can say, je suis français. I am French. And I will use the word français because I'm a man, so I'm using the male version of the adjective. If I was a woman, I would say, je suis française. Je suis française. Because then I would be using the female version of the adjective. Français, française. A man from the USA, from America, will say, je suis américain. Je suis américain. A woman will say, je suis américaine. Je suis américaine. A man from Portugal, just like Miguel in the document, will say, je suis portugais. Gay. A woman will say, je suis portugaise. Portugaise. So you can see that every time the male version, very often, they have this final consonant that you don't hear actually. But when they turn into female, suddenly you hear the consonant because you have added the letter E, and so now you can pronounce the consonant. Okay? Très bien. Now, we said that if the masculine ends with I, E, N or E, E, N, I add NE. Par exemple, a man from Canada will say, je suis Canadien, and a woman, just like Olivia in the document, will say, je suis Canadienne. Canadienne. A man from South Korea will say, je suis coréen, and a woman, coréenne. Coréen, coréenne. Okay? And if the masculine already ends with the letter E, which is possible, then I just don't do anything. And so the male and female one, they are just the same. Par exemple, je suis tchèque. Je suis tchèque. Je suis belge. Je suis belge. Same, same. Ok? Très bien. Now, very often in French, the grammar rules, they have exceptions, which means that they have a few cases that are a bit special and that don't follow the general rule. Okay? Don't overthink about it. It's very common. Every time you have a grammar rule, you just have a few cases that are a bit different. That's how it is. That's just like this. For example, par exemple, pour les adjectifs de nationalité, we can mention grec, okay, Greek. Instead of adding a E for a woman, I will add Q-U-E. The pronunciation are exactly the same. Je suis grec. Je suis grec. Spelling is different, pronunciation is the same. Same for Turk, but again, special exception. the masculine version have C. For the feminine version, I remove the C and I put Q, U, E. Again, the pronunciation is the same. Je suis turc. Je suis turc. Et voilà. C'est tout. Ça va? Très bien. On peut faire un exercice. Right away, we can do an exercise. So, I would like you to pause the video right here and take a look at the sentences. I want you to guess, according to the sentence, if the adjective should be left like this in the masculine version, or should you add something in the end to make it feminine. Okay? So pause the video right here, and on your notebook you can write 1 Camerounais, 2 Iranien, okay? And maybe you add something in the end if that's necessary. C'est bon? On regarde. Madame Bécombo est camerounaise. Parce que Madame is Madame, right? It's a woman. So, camerounaise. Elle est iranienne. Parce que she is Iranian. Monsieur Tang est chinois. I leave it like this because monsieur is a man. Il est allemand. I leave it like this because il is a man. Elle est indienne. Elle est indienne because it's she. Elle. Elle est grecque. Elle est grecque. Just like we've seen in the exception, I add Q, U, E. Vous êtes turc, madame. I'm talking to madame, okay, to a woman, so turc, Q, U, E. It should be pretty easy normally. Hein? Shouldn't be too difficult. Très bien. Something to mention about the pronunciation. So, listen to my pronunciation. Camerounais. Camerounaise. Do you notice something? For the female version, just like we said, I have added E at the end to show that now the adjective is at the female form. But suddenly, even though I should hear this Z sound because now there's a E, on top of this one also changes. Did you hear it? Camerounais et sounds like et camerounaise et sounds like et. The distinction between these two sounds et and e is one of the most difficult sound distinction to do in French because not many languages have it. So, why is it like this? Briefly, I'm not going to do a super deep phonetic point, but just briefly so you know that it doesn't come from nowhere. The thing is that here, n, the letter N, is a consonant, right? It's in consonant. And then I have the sound E, which is a vowel sound. So, consonant, vowel, ne. It's like the sound E, which is a strong vowel, right? Like E, I really hear it. It comes and it closes the consonant. it's like the letter N is closed by the consonant, by the vowel, by the E. Ne. So it's very easy to pronounce. Ne. Ne. There's no, you don't have to think about it to pronounce it. But here, after this E, I now have a new consonant sound, which is Z. Camerounais Z. Okay? And now this one is like it's open on the void because there's no strong vowel anymore. You have the letter E, but I don't hear the E. I don't say Camerounais Z. I say Camerounais Z. So I have this empty consonant sound Z. And the idea, you might feel it or you might not, but I'm telling you, so you can take it for granted. The idea is that it's difficult to keep the E sound if I have an open consonant after it. Because it would sound like Camerounaise. Naise. It's not so easy to do. It doesn't sound so great. So what I do is that I take this E sound and I open it to turn it into E. The only difference between this and this is the opening of my mouth. That's it. Look at this. This is E. This is E. The only difference is how open my mouth is. E. That's it. E. Camerounais. This one. Camerounais. As this one. It sounds a bit ridiculous right now, but I want to introduce you to this very similar double vowel, because this is the kind of detail that if you do the effort and take a bit of time to practice it, will make you sound way better in the future and give you a better accent, which should be one of your objectives, like we have mentioned in Unité 0. Okay? Très bien. That's a bit different, but okay, almost the same logic for these sounds. So for example, iranien, un, iranien, iranienne, un, super stretch sound like this, un, N, way more open, less stretch, more open, N, 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 same, only difference is how my mouth is open. Irani, un, Irani, N. Okay? I know I look a bit ridiculous doing this, but again, this is for the people who want to do the effort to practice pronunciation, which should be one of your objectives once again. Let's stop here for the pronunciation. I think you have enough of me doing weird faces like this. Dernier point de grammaire, last grammar point. Remember on these verbs. We've seen again le verbe être. Être, to be. Avoir, avoir, to have. If you don't know these two verbs by heart, it means that either you didn't watch Unité 0, so please go watch Unité 0 first, or you did watch Unité 0, but you didn't do what I said, which was to learn them by heart, which is worse than if you didn't watch it. So please, now is your reminder. You don't have you have no way to escape it. Go learn them by heart. Okay? And new verb, s'appeler. So we've seen it under the form je m'appelle. My name is. Okay? Je m'appelle Nicolas. My name is Nicolas. Tu t'appelles Nicolas. Your name is Nicolas. Etc. etc. So, let's review the pronunciation. Je m'appelle. Tu t'appelles. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. Nous, liaison, appelons. Vous appelez. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. Why am I showing you this? Because I do not go into detail right now. We will see this in chapter number 2, in next chapter. But these endings right here will be the same for 90% of all the verbs you are going to learn. Okay? So this is going to be very easy, but you have to learn this one first. Now, something I want to make super clear, because I know that you are going to make mistake about this, but I want to limit the amount of mistake you are going to do about this. Don't be fooled by the spelling. All of them are pronounced exactly the same. Pelle, 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 pelle. I don't care if there's a E, ES, or ENT. It's all pronounced the same. Especially this one, don't start to tell me elle s'appelle l'an, elle s'appelle l'on, elle s'appelle l'un. No, this is just s'appelle. Okay? And these two are different. Nous nous appelons, vous vous appelez. Ça va? Tu t'appelles, your name is, elle s'appelle, her name is, nous nous appelons, our name is, etc. If you want to literally translate it in English, it's something like, I call myself Nicolas, you call yourself, etc., etc. But it's not, as you can hear, it's not relevant to try to translate it in this way. Okay? Très bien. Let's do a new exercise right now. I want you to fill in the blanks with conjugated verbs. Either être, avoir ou s'appeler. The one of them. Par exemple, je Olivia. Obviously, je m'appelle Olivia. Okay? So please do this seriously. Pause the video right here. You can copy down the whole sentences on your notebook and you fill in the blanks with the verbs. C'est bon? On regarde. Je m'appelle Olivia. Je suis canadienne et j'ai 23 ans. Thomas et Henri sont français. Bruno a 50 ans. Sa femme Myrtille a 52 ans. Elle s'appelle comment? Elle s'appelle Marie. Vous avez quel âge? Nous nous appelons Mathieu et Sophie. Nous avons 30 ans chacun. Léa et Amélie ont 19 ans. Ça va? This is purely conjugation. Nothing difficult here. C'est bon? Très bien. I think that's it. We've reached the end of this first lesson already. This was quite short, but there is a reason why it was short. It is because I want to introduce you to something that's called RFI and something that's called TV5 Monde. So, what am I talking about? If you go to the course, under the video, as always, you have the homework video. Okay. In the homework file, I have on purpose put very little homework because I have put to discover RFI and to discover TV5 Monde. So, what are these two websites? Let's start with RFI. RFI means Radio France Internationale. It's like an international French-speaking radio station, radio network, let's say, and they have a special section called Le Français Facile avec RFI. If you plan one day to take TEF exam, some document of the TEF exam, they took them directly from the RFI document, the RFI database. On their website, they have a lot of French learning exercise. And so all the way through this course, I will often put in the homework exercises, like additional exercises from RFI. For example, the homework for this chapter is about le genre des nationalités. So exactly what we have studied today. Why am I asking you to do these exercises that you do completely online on the website of RFI, completely free and everything? It's a free to use resources. Because this will give you a different kind of document from what you can see elsewhere. And so to have documents from here, document from here, document from here is a very, very smart way to learn right from the beginning to see different sources. Okay. For example, here, the purpose of the document is always to listen something from the radio and then to answer some questions. Here, for example, the first exercise, you should listen to the sentences, and in the sentences, you tick if you hear the male version of the adjective or the female one.
Et puis dans ce journal, la suite de la visite officielle du président chinois.
Du président
chinois.
Chinois, okay. This one. You do it, you tick vérifier, and then you move on to next exercise. So here you have to put masculin ou féminin in front of the things. Next exercise, you have to fill in the blanks with the masculin or féminin, okay? Next exercise, you have a grammar point like this, summarizing what I told you today, etc., etc. This is honestly very smart from you to start right from the beginning to do exercises from RFI regularly, just to be exposed to listening to real French documents. On their websites, they have a lot of documents for French level A1, A2, B1, B2, etc. You can do them by yourself if you want, but in the course, I will specifically put relevant exercises that are relevant to the topics that we have discussed in the class. Okay? Très bien. Now the second one is TV5 Monde. It is exactly the same principle. Literally exactly the same. The only difference is that most of the time, TV5 Monde is using video document instead of podcast. So that's again another way to study the grammar. This is a document from TV5 Monde, so which is also a free resource website with a section to learn French for foreign people. This is an exercise about la nationalité au masculin et au féminin. So exactly what we have studied today. So you put commencer l'exercice, start the exercise. And so here you will have a video to watch, some questions to answer. Okay, I cut the sound, but I have sounds and everything. You can watch the video, put some subtitles. You have subtitles in many languages if it can help you. Here, maybe you don't know all the vocabulary. We haven't seen élève yet. We haven't seen adolescent yet. Don't hesitate to go check the translation online. You will learn a bit of vocabulary like this. The exercises are very easy. And you will practice nationalité au masculin et au féminin. Okay? I let you check this. Again, it is very, very smart that you start doing these exercises in parallel to the course to be exposed to just different like podcast, video, etc., etc. So that's why regularly I will put exercises like this in the homeworks with direct link to access them. I've also put the links below here, so RFI, TV5 Monde, you can access them right here. Okay? Très bien. Below in the additional resources, I've put a funny video about bonjour in France. Okay? That's what I was going to mention here. So it's a short video, about 3 minutes long. It's my cultural recommendation of the day. It's like it's like a comical video about how to say bonjour in French from an external point of view, and it's not super fun in my opinion, but it's still a bit fun and a bit interesting, and maybe you will like it. So that's my recommendation. Dans le prochain chapitre, so in the next chapter, after you will have done and check the homeworks, we will review finally how to use le, la, les in French, super useful, and we are going to see new verbs and new vocabulary. And that's it for today. I talked a lot about RFI et TV5 Monde, but it's because it's really important and, like I said, really smart for you, I believe, to start studying these. So please go do the homeworks. In the homework solution video, I will actually go through the TV5 Monde and RFI material. So in case you want an extra solution video. All right? Bonne chance pour les devoirs. Good luck for the homeworks. I am excited that you finally started Unité 1. This is really only the beginning. You are going to go a really long way through this course. We are going to do a lot of exercises and a lot of study together. So I hope you're excited as well about this. Ciao mon pote, à bientôt. Bon courage et travaille bien.